Hey everyone, just kind of wanted to give it a minute there for everybody to join that wants to. So kind of similar to what we did last night. If you weren't here last night, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to do my best to answer. But we now officially have potential tropical cyclone 9. It's a little bit of a mouthful. When we're talking again tomorrow, it's most likely going to be Tropical Storm Imelda. So that's what we're tracking right now. Looking at the tropics, we have Umberto off in the Atlantic right now. Not going to make any land impact to us here in the United States. It's a pretty healthy looking storm, but it's not going to impact us, so we're really not going to focus on it too much. But again, this is the storm that we're keeping an eye on. Really just disorganized area of thunderstorms. You can call it a tropical wave if you want. Around the Dominican, around Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, it's pretty big disorganization of storms. But latest models have this tracking north and westward that will eventually most likely make landfall in the South Carolina coast. Again, most likely, but you can see this is a little bit of a weird storm. Monday, it's expected to strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane. By Tuesday, still Category 1, really hasn't moved very much. And then by Wednesday, almost kind of has it stalling from Tuesday to Wednesday, but weakening a little bit. Now, I don't fully see why it would weaken if it's in that environment where it's just getting that fuel, but this is what the National Hurricane Center has. I wouldn't be surprised if we still stay at a Category 1, but it could just end up losing all of its energy, but it's got a great energy source with those sea surface temperatures in the upper 80s. So definitely a storm that we're gonna have to keep a close eye on. As of right now, for us here in the CSRA, we're on the left side of this storm, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I finally found the graphic I wanted to show y'all. Here we are. So whenever I say we're on the left-hand side, and that's the weaker side of the storm, so if it makes landfall kind of where we're anticipating, either late Tuesday or Wednesday, again, the exact timing is a little bit different on exactly when landfall will happen. We can expect to start seeing impacts of larger outer bands coming in and some wind gust as early as Monday. So that's why we have that first alert out. Tuesday could potentially be making landfall, or it could kind of hold off a little bit just off the coast. But nonetheless, if it moves into the South Carolina coast, we'll be on the left side of it. So that's historically and always going to be the weaker side of the storm. So when kind of put it in perspective with Helene, we were the front right quadrant. So you can see that was the highest winds, the biggest tornado threat, the most flooding is in that front right quadrant. This time we're going to be in the front left. So you can see the winds still a concern. The severe threat in terms of tornadoes, relatively low, flooding low. So that's some good news. Again, if this scenario times out. Now, if it shifts a little bit more south and maybe makes impact to portions or makes landfall in Georgia, which I don't see, we don't have any models indicating that it will, but just kind of showing you guys all the scenarios and what those possibilities would be. So if it does end up making landfall in Georgia, we'll definitely have to have our guard up a little bit more, just making sure that things are secure, because again, we will see then the strongest winds of that system. And if this makes landfall far north of South Carolina, we'll see minimal impacts. So again, it's very little, relatively speaking. I mean, anywhere along the South Carolina coast, we could see minimal impacts, or we could see almost maximum impacts that we could see from this storm. And I know that's super frustrating. It's frustrating to us too, but we have a good sense on this storm. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we're predicting this tropical storm, possibly hurricane, and we've got it nailed down to, I don't know, maybe a couple 100 miles or less along the coast. So that's pretty good. Relatively speaking, we're not saying, oh, it could be anywhere on the East Coast. We're saying South Carolina, possibly a little bit into Georgia. But I mean, that's a pretty good forecast for us here this many days out. So again, just kind of want to put that in perspective for us. Hopefully we will continue to stay on the left-hand side. Here's two long-term models. Not much different from yesterday, but I will say still has it out at sea 8 a.m. Tuesday. But we'll still be getting the winds, rainfall from it, so we'll still be getting impacts again as early as Monday, but Tuesday is probably going to be our big day, if you will. We'll see probably the most impacts from this storm come Tuesday for us. So this is what we're looking at. Again, you can see that model under the GFS has it a little bit more closer to the Savannah area. That's not what we want to see here in the CSRA. We definitely want it to be a little bit more north for us, so that'll put us on the weaker side of this system. So as of right now, don't have a super clear picture, and we've been in contact with the National Weather Service as well, and we've kind of all just like put our heads together, and definitely this one's a tricky one to forecast, as are most tropical systems, I will say. But here's one model kind of showing, I think this is the European model, has it moving pretty rapidly over the weekend, but kind of stalls out as we get into Monday, Tuesday. You can see it's really just not making a lot of progress. So this kind of has it around Monday afternoon. Tuesday, Wednesday would be getting a lot closer, if not making landfall. So definitely something we'll keep an eye on. Most models right now have it as a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. So we're not talking a major hurricane, but tropical storm's a tropical storm. We dealt with tropical storms before, and we know that they can cause a lot of damage. So kind of want to put that into perspective a little bit as well. Looking at those wind gusts as we go throughout Monday and Tuesday, picking up 30 to 40 miles per hour, but we've seen some models kind of show us closer to 45 mile per hour wind gust. And put that in perspective, severe thunderstorm warning is 60 miles per hour or greater. But thing with this, it might last a little bit longer than a severe thunderstorm warning that's maybe 20-30 minutes. This will be a little bit longer lasting. So if you have outdoor furniture, trash cans, things like that, make sure that they are put up Monday at the latest. Probably go ahead and put them up Sunday if you can, but just be prepared for a decent amount of rainfall and some gusty winds as we go into our Tuesday, but starting as early as Monday. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at the comments here and see if anybody has any questions. And something else I do want to point out, I remember I wanted to do this on this cone here. Something that's a little bit misleading with the cone, and I don't know if we necessarily talk about it enough, but this cone of uncertainty is not the size of the storm. This is anywhere within this cone can be the center of the storm. So where the eye would be. So that could be all the way down around Jacksonville, Florida. It could be all the way up in North Carolina. That's how much of an uncertainty this cone has. Now, most likely it's going to be closer to the middle. So that's just kind of how they give us a little bit of a buffer there. But you can see as we get further in the forecast, the cone gets a lot bigger. So over the next couple of days, very confident the cone's a little bit smaller of where the center of the storm will be within that cone. But again, as we get closer, that cone gets bigger. So just want to emphasize, stay up to date with your forecast, and we're going to be having updates throughout the weekend, throughout the day Monday and Tuesday. So we'll continue to give you guys updates, but just know what we're seeing right now is not going to be picture exact of what we will see, but this is giving us a good idea. We're pretty confident that if it does make landfall, which it's looking likely, it will be in South Carolina. So again, putting that into the big scale of things, that's a pretty decent forecast for us. So and somebody asked, what is the dirty side of the hurricane? Yes, the upper right quadrant. If it stays in making landfall in South Carolina, we'll be on the left side. So we'll be on the weaker side of the system if it makes landfall there. Now, if it makes landfall in Georgia, we'll be on the stronger side. So definitely going to be something we'll have to pay close attention to there. But nonetheless, still a tropical system, still going to cause strong wind gusts, heavy rainfall. But timing, as of right now, most models are showing Tuesday, whether that's early Tuesday or midday Tuesday. That's kind of still up in the air at the moment, but we will still feel impacts as early as Monday. So it could be maybe just a little bit of rainfall, maybe 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's nothing super extreme, but the storm will start to be building in to our area at that time. So we have that first alert out Monday, and Tuesday will most likely extend it into Wednesday, but that's just kind of giving us a really big bubble for, hey, we could start to see a little bit breezy conditions, some rainfall picking up in the day Monday. Tuesday, I think, is going to be our wettest day. We'll probably see the strongest wind gusts that we will see, which right now it's looking like 40, 45, maybe 50. When we get into the day Tuesday, heavy rainfall. Wednesday, depending on if this makes landfall or not, we'll kind of have the tail end of things. So that's as of right now. Please stay tuned with the forecast. So we'll have more ideas as we get closer to time. Okay, okay, so I don't really see any more questions, but all of the CSRA has the same impacts for us right now. We're not talking about a line of storms moving through. This will be a tropical storm, possibly even a hurricane. So all of our counties here in the CSRA are under the same impacts as of right now. Once we get into Monday, we might be able to kind of fine tune where lines are in terms of maybe these few counties might be seeing the highest wind gust, and maybe up here might be a little bit weaker or things like that. But that'll definitely be a Monday forecast. As of right now, if you live anywhere in the CSRA, we're kind of under that same umbrella at the moment. So we'll be able to kind of separate that again as we go through Monday. So as of right now, stay weather aware, keep an eye on the forecast. If you feel like you want to go ahead and get some supplies, things like that, always do that. I think that's great. I went ahead and just got a case of water just to be on the safe side. So that's all I have to say right now. We're going to check back in throughout the weekend, but just wanted to give you guys the latest update of what we are seeing right now. So going to go ahead and jump off here. We have newscasts coming up at 10 p.m. on My 12, and then we also will be on CBS at 11. So hope to see you guys then. If not, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.